Captain Peter Cutsey with number 4 on the normal procedures, CDU pre-flight. We will read the procedure directly from FCOM. And once we've done that, we'll go into the simulator and follow the procedure. Our flight today is from Muscat, OOMS, to Dubai, OMDB. Our departure runway 08 left. Our arrival runway in Dubai, runway 30 left. Let's read the procedure. Initial data set, ident page, the pause init page, then navigation data set. We'll go to the route page and do that. Enter the origin, enter the route, enter the flight number, activate and execute the route. Departure page, legs page, close all discontinuities and check the total distance, and that's done on Prague 24. Performance data set, perf init page, and enter the zero fuel weight. If it's not the final figures, that is, if it's not the actual zero fuel weight, then leave it blank until you get the load sheet. That's what most companies do. CDU pre-flight procedure continued, N1 limit page set, enter or verify the outside air temperature, confirm the outside air temperature value is correct and reasonable for the conditions. And you can check that against the ATIS. Select an assumed temperature or fixed G-rated takeoff or both as needed. You follow your company SOPs for direction. Takeoff ref page set. Make data entries on page 2.2 or page 1.2. Enter the CFG. Verify that a trim value was shown. Select or enter the takeoff V speeds. Verify or enter an acceleration height. And verify or enter an engine out acceleration height. And verify or enter a thrust reduction altitude. Now, you will find that in the real world, once you come to the N1 limit page, you're going to pause there because you haven't done the performance. So what would normally happen is once you get to that point in the CDU pre-flight, you would then do your own pre-flight check or procedure, that is. So we'll assume for today's example, the first officer is doing the CDU pre-flight procedure. He or she would stop what's coming to the N1 limit page, perform the first officer's pre-flight procedure, and then wait for the captain to return. And upon completion of the captain's pre-flight procedure, then you would go into the performance, initial and performance final. And we'll do that in a separate briefing. All right, so so far up to this point, this is what we're going to do in the airplane. We're looking at a blown up picture of the CDU, so we can use it much easier as we make this presentation. The first page we look at is the ident page, as we mentioned in the briefing. If you notice, incidentally, an enter IRS position is waiting for us because we had selected the IRS mode selectors from off to nav, and the align lights came on saying, hey, and started flashing, incidentally, I am waiting for you to make an entry. This is when we're going to make the entry as we follow the procedure. So ident page, the model is correct, 737-800W, and the engine rating 26K. The active database, March 23rd, April 19th, 2023, correct. And the U 13.0, the FMC update 13.0 is, we'll say this is what the company, your company requires, and it checks okay. Always go to the right corner for the prompt for the next page. So enter IRS position. We want to enter the most accurate, which is a GPS position. So let's use the left GPS position, and we'll go back to the previous page and line selected in the boxes. That's the most accurate. I've already put in the actual reference for the airport is OOMS. So we are departing from Muscat. All right. Now the next prompt, as we briefed for, is the route. So select the route. So we put in the departure, the arrival, and we don't have a company route for this. And we'll say the flight number is LLI11. All right. Now, what we want to do next is go to the departures. There are departure page, runway 08 left, and a DAPOC 2 Sierra. Where do we get this information? I'm reading it off of the flight plan. And it makes sense to do the setup this way because it follows the right sequence. So then go to the route page and now select the next page. You've got the departure in, and the next point will be from DAPOC. Now, as we're doing this, we should be looking at the nav display. Let's go down and have a look at the settings we should use and look at the nav display. You should be in the plan mode anytime you enter a route. There's our OOMS, the airport. There's the VOR, runway 08 left. And we entered the DAPOC 2 Sierra to DAPOC. Well, I've got a small scale here, so we'll go up and change the scale so we can see the points that we've loaded up to this point in the sequence. So if you notice, we'll just slide over here to the FMC. We put in the DAPOC 2 Sierra to DAPOC. And if we just slide back and have a boo here, there it is, to DAPOC. So when you're loading the route, remember, in the plan mode with north up, and make sure you check the points as you're loading. Let's go back to the FMC CDU. After DAPOC, reading it off the flight plan, Tango 508, Salud. And as I'm doing that, the route is visible on the nav display. And you can see that. Salud was the last point, and there it is on the screen. So that's how, or this is how you load to the FMC CDU and look over and change the scale as required so you can see the new airway and the new points as you enter them. The flight plan after Salud is Papa 574. to IMPED. And then the IMPED 3C arrival. So we go to the arrivals page for Dubai, select arrivals. We know we're planning on an ILS runway 30 left, and the IMPED 3 Charlie from the flight plan, and the transition is Ulden. We've done all of that. And you can see all of that on the nav display. There it is there. All right. Back to the CDU. And now once we've done that, we go to the route page and we can activate and execute. Once we've activated and executed, the route changes to magenta, which means active. We're still on the plan page with north up. There's the airplane, and the nose of the airplane is where it's actually positioned on the ramp, and the runway, and part of the departure. We're on a 5 nautical mile scale, as you can see. So, and magenta means it's active. Back to the CDU, we go to the legs page and actually step through the legs page. And as we are stepping through the legs page, let's have a quick look. You can see the points that are active at the center of the screen. Here we are here. It says DAPOC center. DAPOC is at the center of the screen. So virtually what you're doing is checking the route at this point against the flight plan to ensure that the distances and the tracks are correct. So you continue stepping through each point, looking at the flight plan and confirming that the actual map is indicating the same. Here, IMPED is at the center of the screen. And here it is on the CDU, indicating that it's at the center of the screen. And keep on going through until you check every point that is correct. Now you would go to the progress page 1/4 and check the total distance, providing there weren't any discontinuities. Well, let's go and just make sure we didn't have any discontinuities. So we'll step through again, and we're checking our map as we're doing this. We've already checked the distances and the tracks, and they all concur. And the arrival in Dubai for runway 30 left has quite a distance to it. And we'll show you that on a map in a second. Remember, the flight plan will include that distance. So having checked the legs page, and while we were doing it, we checked the nav display, there weren't any discontinuities. Okay. Here is our actual planned route. The magenta, and now the purple. So that's the actual planned route. And if you notice the arrival in Dubai for runway 30 left is quite an extensive routing. And the reason being the traffic is so intense in Dubai that rather than hold, you follow the route as per clearance, and when they can fit you in, they'll put you on vectors. So the distance in the flight plan and what we've loaded all concur with that. So the ground distance I see here on my flight plan is 256 within 1 nautical mile. So this is what you're checking, and it all concurs and checks out okay. So the route checks okay. And now we go to the next prompt, which is the perf init. And that takes us to this page here. And now we load everything we can from the flight plan. Well, the cost index off the flight plan was 25, and the reserves 3.273. You notice I'm loading all the digits and let the FMC round it for you. Next is the zero fuel weight, and we don't have the final figures yet, so we will wait before we load that. We'll put the planned fuel, which in our case today, block fuel is 5,900. And the top of climb altitude, flight level 200, and the cruise wind, which we get off the flight plan. And either the deviation from ISA or the outside air temperature, we'll use the deviation of +11. Now, I'm going to pause here for a moment and mention that if you don't enter the top of climb, wind, direction, speed, and or the ISA or the deviation, you will not have an accurate prediction, fuel over destination prediction. And the intention, of course, is you should actually fill out the wind and altitude for each waypoint. And that is normally done once you reach cruising altitude. This is a very short flight, approximately 52 minutes in flight. So this won't be the case today, but on longer flights, you wait to put in all the other winds once you get to top of climb. And then you will, and include, of course, the descent winds, forecasted descent winds. So that will give you a much more accurate fuel over destination figure. All right, once we've done this, we can now go to the N1 limit page, and now we stop. As I mentioned before, we have the operational performance tool and performance phase 1 and phase 2, and that will be part of our next video. Thank you for watching. See you soon.